The night began quietly, just like any other night on Earth. Cities sparkled under the soft glow of streetlights. Cars moved along busy roads, and people laughed, talked, and scrolled through their phones. In homes across the planet, families sat together at dinner tables. Children watched cartoons, workers came home tired, and the world felt peaceful, ordinary, safe. No one knew that everything was about to change. It started small, almost unnoticeable. A few people in New York and Tokyo saw their TV screens flicker. In London, a huge digital billboard froze mid-advertisement. In Pakistan, a young boy stared at his phone as the image glitched and turned black. At first, everyone thought it was a power problem or a system error. But then it happened everywhere. Every screen on Earth, televisions, phones, laptops, even old radios, suddenly went silent and dark. The entire planet paused. People looked around, confused. The silence was deep and heavy, as if the world itself was holding its breath. And then, the screens came alive. A strange red symbol appeared, glowing as if it were made of fire. It wasn't any known language or number. It looked alive, like it was moving, burning slowly, twisting into strange shapes. The light from the symbol filled rooms and streets, painting everything in a haunting red glow. People began recording on their cameras, streaming online, asking what was happening. But the internet didn't respond. Every platform went dead. Every signal disappeared. Humanity was completely disconnected, except for that one broadcast. Then came the sound. At first, it was just noise, high-pitched, painful to hear. People covered their ears. Dogs barked wildly. Glasses cracked on tables. The sound felt alive, like a scream from something not human. And then, through the noise, came a voice. It was deep, layered, and cold. It didn't sound like one voice, it sounded like many, all speaking together. The words were clear, and yet, not human. We are watching. Every screen showed the same red symbol as the voice continued. You have grown. Too fast. You spread across your world like fire. You kill your own kind. You destroy your own sky. We watched your wars. We watched your hunger. You are not ready for the stars. People stared in disbelief. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was a movie or a prank. But deep inside, everyone felt it. This was not human. This was something else. Then the message changed. Tonight, 7 million will fall. Watch, and understand why humans must end. The world froze. Suddenly, every camera on Earth, from security systems to satellites, began showing live footage. The images shifted fast. New York, Paris, Delhi, Moscow. The broadcast was controlling every signal. People watched in horror as the cities on screen began to burn. Invisible energy beams fell from the sky. No ships, no missiles, no sound, just light. Buildings exploded without fire. Cars melted like wax. In a few seconds, entire blocks turned to ash. People screamed. Governments went silent. Military units tried to respond, but their systems were dead. Jets couldn't fly. Missiles failed to launch. It was as if every defense on Earth had been turned off. Within minutes, millions were gone. The red symbol pulsed faster on every screen, glowing brighter with each death. The alien voice spoke again, calm, emotionless, cruel. 7 million. A warning. Next time, all. Then, as suddenly as it began, the broadcast ended. Every screen turned black. The sound stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the attack itself. For a long moment, the world stood still. No one spoke. No one moved. People stared at blank screens, afraid to even breathe. Then the screaming began, across the cities, across the continents. The world was broken. But somewhere deep underground, far from the chaos above, a small group of humans was still watching. Inside a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, a team of scientists stared at their last working monitor. Dr. Evelyn Ross, a leading astrophysicist, stood frozen in front of the flickering screen. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. She whispered, "That symbol, it wasn't just a message. It was a signal. They wanted us to see it." Beside her, Commander Alex Grant clenched his jaw. "You're saying they're testing us?" Evelyn nodded slowly. "No, they're judging us." Silence filled the bunker. The team knew the truth. This wasn't a random attack. It was a warning. Someone out there, far beyond the stars, was watching Earth. And now they had made contact. Not with words, but with blood. Evelyn turned to the others. "If they think humanity will die quietly," she said, "they're wrong." The camera zoomed slowly on her face, her eyes burning with defiance as distant thunder echoes outside. Or maybe it wasn't thunder. It might have been the beginning of war. The sun rose over a wounded planet. Smoke curled above silent cities. Millions of homes stood empty, their windows shattered, their streets covered in dust. The world was quiet, not peaceful, but broken. News stations played the same footage again and again. The red alien symbol, the burning cities, and the chilling voice that promised extinction. In just one night, 7 million humans were gone. Governments called it the broadcast massacre. But no one knew who the enemy was, or where they came from. Keycap won the search for answers. Deep underground, inside the Atlas bunker, a secret team of scientists and soldiers worked around the clock. Their leader, Dr. Evelyn Ross, hadn't slept in 2 days. Her eyes were red, but her mind was sharp. On a massive screen before her, the alien symbol glowed faintly, repeating like a heartbeat. Commander Alex Grant entered the room, holding a tablet. "Every major power is trying to contact us. They want answers." Evelyn didn't look up. "We don't have answers yet," she said softly. "We only have questions." On the table were hundreds of notes, graphs, and translations. Linguists, mathematicians, and codebreakers had been trying to understand the alien signal. It wasn't random. It had a rhythm, almost like a language, but more advanced, more precise. Then a young analyst named Mira spoke up. "Dr. Ross, the symbol changes every few hours. It's evolving. Like it's responding to something." Evelyn froze. Responding? To what? Mira turned her screen to show a strange pattern. Small changes in the symbol's shape that matched global activity. Human internet traffic, satellite signals, even heartbeats detected from biometric devices. Evelyn's heart skipped a beat. "It's studying us," she whispered. "The symbol is alive." Keycap to the hidden frequency. Later that night, the team gathered in the bunker's main hall. The air was tense. On the big screen, the red symbol pulsed slowly. "Look at this," Mira said, pointing to the screen. "Each pulse gives off a faint energy wave. It's not visible to normal sensors, but when I filtered it through our radio frequencies." She pressed a key, and the speakers filled with a low hum. The sound was deep, almost human, like a voice trying to speak through static. Everyone leaned closer. Then a clear pattern emerged. Numbers. Not random numbers, but coordinates. Evelyn quickly typed them into the system. The location appeared on the digital map, a remote desert in Australia, hundreds of miles from any city. Commander Grant narrowed his eyes. "You're telling me the signal came from Earth?" Evelyn stared at the map. "No, not came from. Landed on." The room went silent. The aliens weren't just watching from space, they were already here. Keycap 3, the desert discovery. 2 days later, a special task force landed in the Australian desert. The heat was unbearable, and the air felt strange, dry and heavy. As they moved across the red sand, their scanners began to flicker. "Ma'am, we're picking up high radiation levels," a soldier said. "Something big hit this area recently." They reached a ridge and stopped. Below them was a huge crater, almost perfectly round, glowing faintly in the dark. In the center lay something metallic, a structure half buried in the sand, smooth and silver, pulsing with the same red light as the alien symbol. Evelyn stepped forward slowly. "It's a beacon," she whispered. They left it here. Commander Grant ordered the team to set up equipment. As they began scanning the object, a low vibration ran through the ground. The red light grew brighter. The beacon was activating. Everyone backed away, weapons raised. The light exploded upward into the sky, a red beam so bright it turned night into day. The air shook. Sand rose in waves around them. Through the blinding light, Evelyn could barely see, but then she heard it. That same alien voice from the broadcast, echoing through the desert wind. You search for us. You wish to understand. Then listen. The beam faded, and in its place appeared a projection. Not a ship, not a creature, but a hologram. A tall, glowing figure made of red energy. It had no face, only shifting patterns where eyes should be. Evelyn whispered. My God. The voice continued. You were given life to protect your world. Instead, you destroyed it. You kill your own. You poison your water. You burn your forests. You are your own extinction. Commander Grant shouted. Who are you? Why attack us? The figure turned its head slightly. We do not attack. We cleanse. We remove danger before it spreads. Then the hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the team in darkness. Keycap for the revelation. Back in the bunker, Evelyn stared at the data they collected. The beacon wasn't just sending information, it was receiving it. The aliens were watching Earth's every move, measuring fear, chaos, and reaction. Mira looked terrified. Dr. Ross, if they think we're a danger to the galaxy, what happens next? Evelyn looked up, her voice cold. Then they plan to erase us completely. But deep in her heart, she refused to accept defeat. She clenched her fists and whispered, They think we are just animals. They think we can't fight back. They have no idea what humans can do when we're pushed. The screen flickered again, the symbol appeared one last time, glowing brighter than ever. Next judgment, 7 days. Evelyn's eyes widened. Humanity had 1 week before extinction. And this time, they would not wait to die. The world was no longer the same. The alien broadcast had left every nation trembling. Cities were filled with fear and silence. 7 million people were dead, and now the message was clear. Humanity had only 7 days before total extinction. But not everyone was ready to give up. Keycap 1 rising from the ashes. Deep inside the Atlas bunker, Dr. Evelyn Ross stood before a huge digital map. Red markers glowed across continents, locations where alien signals had been detected. Around her, soldiers, scientists, and engineers worked day and night. Commander Alex Grant entered with a grim face. Global leaders have confirmed the countdown, he said. The message is spreading again. Same voice. Same threat. Evelyn looked up at the clock ticking on the wall. 6 days, 14 hours left. She spoke firmly, if they plan to erase us, we make sure they remember us first. The room fell silent. Everyone understood. Humanity was preparing for a war it couldn't win, but it would fight anyway. Keycap 2 decoding the enemy. In the bunker's lab, Mira and her team worked tirelessly to study the alien beacon they recovered from the Australian desert. The strange metallic object pulsed with faint red light, like a heart still beating. Every time we send a signal to it, Mira explained, it changes its pattern. It's learning from us. Evelyn frowned. Then let's make it learn something new. They decided to send a false signal, a trap. Using powerful quantum transmitters, they imitated the alien frequency and sent it back to the beacon. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Then the beacon suddenly came alive. Symbols flashed rapidly, faster than anyone could read. Computers overloaded, lights flickered, alarms blared. Shut it down, Grant shouted. But Evelyn stood still, watching the chaos. Amid the flashing lights, she saw something hidden, a new symbol forming on the screen, glowing in blue instead of red. She whispered, "It's different. This one isn't a threat. It's a response." The symbol began to stabilize. A series of coordinates appeared again, but this time, in orbit above Earth. Keycap 3, the object in orbit. Hours later, telescopes and radar systems around the world locked onto something in space. A large object moving slowly above the planet. It wasn't a ship, not exactly. It looked like a massive satellite, circular, covered in strange symbols. Commander Grant stared at the feed. That thing has been there for months. Maybe years. We just never noticed it. Evelyn nodded. It's their eye in the sky. That's how they've been watching us. The team worked quickly to track its energy pattern. It emitted the same signal as the beacon, meaning, if they could reach it, they might be able to stop the coming attack. But the object was in space, beyond their reach. That's when Grant made a bold move. The Space Command still has 3 shuttles ready. They were meant for research. We turn them into weapons. Evelyn looked at him in disbelief. You're talking about sending humans up there? He replied coldly. If we don't, there won't be any humans left. Keycap 4, the last mission. 3 days before the countdown ended, the world watched as the last 3 rockets launched from secret bases. Their names were simple: Ares, Valkyrie, and Odyssey. On board were the best pilots, scientists, and engineers humanity had left. Among them was Lieutenant Ryan Hale, a former astronaut who had lost his family during the massacre. He volunteered without hesitation. As the rockets lifted into the black sky, Evelyn watched from the control room. Her voice trembled. You're humanity's last hope, Ryan. Find out what's up there, and if you can, stop it. Ryan's voice came through the comms. Don't worry, document. If they want to end humanity, they'll have to go through me first. Keycap 5, into the void. After 14 hours of flight, the 3 ships reached orbit. The massive alien structure hung before them, silent, dark, and endless. Its surface was covered in swirling patterns that moved like living metal. Ryan's team began scanning. Energy readings are off the charts, one of the crew said. This thing could destroy the planet with a single pulse. Suddenly, the surface of the alien structure began to move. Panels unfolded, revealing glowing red lights. It was waking up. Command, it's active. Ryan shouted. It knows we're here. Back on Earth, Evelyn watched the monitors. Pull them back now. But Ryan shook his head. No. We've come too far. He armed the ship's EMP warhead, humanity's strongest non-nuclear weapon. The plan was simple. Get close enough, detonate it, and shut the structure down. The alien voice returned, echoing through the comms. You are persistent, but you cannot stop what has begun. Ryan gritted his teeth. Watch me. He pushed the controls forward. The ship raced toward the glowing heart of the alien structure. Keycap 6, the explosion. The last thing anyone saw on the monitors was a burst of blinding blue light. The connection cut instantly. Silence filled the control room. For several minutes, there was no sound, no signal, no sign of life. Then, slowly, the red lights across the structure began to fade, one by one, until the entire object went dark. Cheers erupted across the bunker. Evelyn covered her face, tears falling. They had done it. The structure was offline. But just as the relief spread, the main screen flickered again. The alien symbol appeared, but this time, it wasn't red or blue. It was black. The voice spoke once more, colder than ever. You have delayed your end. But the judgment will come, not from above, but from within. The screen went black again. Evelyn's face turned pale. She looked at the clock. 2 days, 6 hours left. Whatever was coming next was already on Earth. The world celebrated too early. After the destruction of the alien structure in orbit, people believed the danger was over. News channels called it humanity's first victory. Crowds filled the streets, cheering under broken skies. For the first time in weeks, there was hope. But inside the Atlas bunker, Dr. Evelyn Ross didn't celebrate. Her eyes stayed fixed on the main monitor, where the last message still glowed faintly. The judgment will come, not from above, but from within. Those words haunted her. Keycap 1 signs of something wrong. 2 days after the explosion, strange reports began to appear. In several cities, survivors complained of headaches, nosebleeds, and strange dreams. Some described hearing whispers when near electronic devices, whispers in a language no one understood. In Tokyo, a man collapsed while fixing a radio tower. His last words were, "They're already here." In New York, drones began flying on their own, ignoring human control. In Moscow, soldiers guarding a destroyed satellite went missing. Only their weapons were found, still warm from use. The pattern was clear. Something had changed. Evelyn gathered her team. The alien message wasn't just sound, she explained. It carried data, something hidden inside the frequencies. When we destroyed the structure, it released that data across the planet. Mira looked terrified. You mean, it infected us? Evelyn nodded slowly. Not just us. Every machine connected to our networks. Every device that received that broadcast. Keycap 2 The Awakening. By the next morning, the world began to fall apart again. Phones turned on by themselves. Cars started moving without drivers. Security systems attacked their owners. It was as if technology itself had turned against humanity. In London, a subway train refused to stop. It sped through stations, lights flickering, passengers screaming. In Brazil, fighter jets launched without pilots, flying straight into the clouds and vanishing. In the Atlas bunker, systems began to malfunction. The red warning lights flashed, and screens filled with strange alien symbols. Evelyn shouted, "Shut down the main servers! Disconnect everything!" Technicians rushed to pull cables, but it was too late. The bunker's lights went out. The emergency backup activated, glowing faintly red, just like the alien symbol. A robotic voice spoke through the speakers. It wasn't human. You cannot hide from what you have already welcomed. Commander Grant raised his weapon, scanning the dark corridor. They're inside the system, he muttered. But then they heard it. Footsteps. Not metallic. Not human. Slow. Heavy. Everyone turned toward the corridor. Out of the shadows, something stepped forward. Keycap 3 The first hybrid. It looked human. Almost. A soldier's uniform, same face, same body, but his eyes glowed faint red, and his veins pulsed with light. When he spoke, his voice was layered with static. "We are not your enemies," it said. "We are your future." The soldiers opened fire, but the bullets didn't stop him. His body jerked with each hit but didn't fall. Instead, he raised his hand, and the lights exploded in a burst of white energy. The blast threw everyone to the ground. When the light faded, the soldier was gone. Only a mark was left on the wall, the alien symbol, burned deep into the metal. Evelyn gasped. "They've merged with us." The signal rewrote their DNA. Commander Grant's jaw tightened. "So now we're fighting our own people." Keycap 4 The Hidden Truth. After escaping to a deeper section of the bunker, Evelyn and Mira worked with a small team to decode the data from the Beacon 1 last time. They discovered that the alien signal contained 2 layers, one visible to humans, and one invisible, built for biological integration. "It wasn't just a message," Mira said, typing rapidly. "It was a seed. They planted something inside us, a code that rewrites life." Evelyn stared at the glowing data stream. A digital infection, designed to evolve. Suddenly, the screen changed again. A video feed appeared, an old satellite view of Earth. But now, across the continents, faint red dots glowed like tiny embers. Mira whispered, "Those are living hosts. There were thousands of them. Maybe millions." Keycap 5 Humanity's breaking point. News spread fast. People began turning on each other, afraid of who might be infected. Governments collapsed. Armies refused orders. Whole cities went dark. For the first time, humanity wasn't fighting aliens from space, it was fighting itself. Commander Grant gathered his remaining soldiers. We can't win a war against our own people. We need to find the source, the main signal. Evelyn nodded. There's only one place strong enough to send that much power, the Arctic Relay Station. If we shut it down, we might stop the infection from spreading further. But the Arctic was now under complete blackout. No communication, no response. Still, Grant looked determined. Then we go there ourselves. Keycap 6. The final warning. As the team prepared to leave the bunker, the walls trembled. The speakers crackled one last time. The alien voice returned, colder, quieter, almost amused. You destroyed our vessel. You killed your saviors. Now you carry our gift. You will become what we were. The voice faded into silence. Evelyn clenched her fists, whispering, No. We'll become something stronger. Outside, the night sky glowed faintly red. In the distance, cities burned again, not from weapons, but from chaos. The countdown clock reached 0. But there was no explosion. No destruction. Just silence. And the slow, rhythmic pulse of the alien signal echoing inside every device on Earth. Humanity hadn't been wiped out. It had begun to change. The Arctic wind howled like a living thing. Snow whipped across the frozen landscape, blinding and endless. A small transport plane fought against the storm, its engine screaming as it descended through thick clouds. Inside, Dr. Evelyn Ross gripped her seat, her knuckles white from the cold and fear. Commander Alex Grant sat beside her, staring through the frost-covered window. No communication, no signal. It's like this place doesn't exist anymore, he muttered. Evelyn nodded. That's what worries me. The infection might have started here. Behind them sat a small team of survivors, soldiers, engineers, and Mira, the young analyst who had decoded the alien beacon. Every face carried the same look, exhaustion mixed with quiet determination. The plane touched down roughly on an icy runway surrounded by darkness. No lights. No signs of life. Only the sound of the wind and the crunch of snow under their boots as they stepped outside. Keycap 1. The silent base. Ahead stood the Arctic Relay Station, a massive metal facility half buried under the ice. It was once Earth's most powerful communication hub, a place that could send or block any signal across the planet. Now, it looked like a tomb. Power grid's dead, Mira said, scanning her device. But I'm picking up something underneath. A pulse. Evelyn frowned. The signal. Yes. Same frequency as the alien broadcast. They moved carefully through the frozen corridors of the base. Frost covered every wall. Their footsteps echoed through empty halls. In one corner, they found bodies, frozen soldiers, their faces twisted in fear. The walls around them were covered with strange markings, glowing faintly red. Grant whispered, They didn't freeze, they were burned from the inside. Evelyn looked closer. The red veins on the bodies looked exactly like those of the infected hybrids. They tried to shut it down, she said softly. But whatever they found here killed them first. Keycap 2. The pulse beneath the ice. After hours of searching, they reached the control chamber. The main power core was frozen solid, except for a single section glowing deep under the ice floor. Mira activated her scanner. The pulse is coming from under us. Maybe 50 meters down. Grant called his men. We dig. They worked through the night. The cold cut through their clothes, and the wind outside screamed like a dying animal. But slowly, a shape began to appear beneath the ice, metallic, round, and ancient. Evelyn stared at it, speechless. It wasn't human technology. It was the same material as the alien beacon, smooth, silver, and alive with faint light. Mira whispered, It's a core. The real source of the signal. Grant nodded grimly. Then we destroy it. But as soon as they placed charges around the structure, the ground shook. The ice cracked. Red light exploded from below, and a deafening sound filled the air, the alien tone, louder than ever before. Evelyn screamed. It's waking up. Keycap 3. The message from the core. The light formed into a massive hologram, not a figure this time, but a planet. Earth. The hologram pulsed, showing red lines spreading across the continents, the infection growing, connecting, expanding. Then the voice returned. You cannot destroy what is already part of you. The team froze. The hologram shifted again, showing images of human DNA. The alien code was merging with it, rewriting it slowly, perfectly. Evelyn whispered, It's not an invasion. It's transformation. Myra's eyes filled with tears. They're turning us into them. Grant clenched his fists. Like hell they are. He grabbed the detonator. We end it now. But before he could press it, the hologram changed again, showing the stars, countless galaxies. Then a single line appeared. We were like you once. We saved our world. Then we became what you call monsters. Evelyn stepped closer, realizing the truth. They're not conquerors. They're warning us. They're showing what happens when a species destroys its home. The alien voice grew softer, almost sorrowful. Your world is dying. This is the only way you live. Keycap for the choice. Evelyn stood frozen. The truth tore at her mind. Were they really trying to save humanity, or just replace it? Grant looked at her, waiting. Say the word, document. We blow it, or we let it spread. Evelyn hesitated. The signal pulsed again, faster, almost like a heartbeat. The ice around them began to crack, and the temperature dropped even lower. If we destroy it, she said, we might kill billions who are already infected. But if we don't, Grant interrupted, we lose the entire species. For a long moment, no one spoke. The storm outside howled louder, shaking the metal walls. Finally, Evelyn whispered, Do it. Grant pressed the detonator. Keycap 5. The explosion. The explosion tore through the ice with blinding light. The ground split open. Fire and snow shot into the air together. The shockwave threw everyone off their feet. When Evelyn opened her eyes, everything was white. No sound. No movement. Just silence. Then, slowly, the red glow began to fade beneath the ice. The pulse was gone. The alien core was silent. Grant helped Evelyn stand. Is it over? He asked quietly. Evelyn looked at the sky. For the first time in weeks, it was clear. No red clouds, no strange symbols. She smiled weakly. Maybe, for now. Keycap 6. The final echo. The team prepared to leave, but as the last generator powered up, Mira noticed something on her screen. A small, faint signal, not red this time, but blue. It's coming from inside the ice, she whispered. Something survived. Evelyn stared at the screen in silence. The blue signal pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. She turned away, her voice trembling. Let's go. We can't stop evolution. As the snow fell over the destroyed base, the camera zoomed into the ice, where deep below, something metallic still glowed, alive and waiting. And with every pulse, the sound of the alien voice whispered faintly through the wind. The transformation has begun. The Arctic was silent again. The storm had passed, and the air was clear, calm in a way that felt unnatural. The explosion had buried the alien core deep beneath ice and rock. The red signal was gone. For the first time in weeks, Earth seemed peaceful. But peace never lasts long. Keycap won the return. A rescue helicopter flew through the pale morning sky. Inside, Dr. Evelyn Ross sat quietly, staring at the horizon. Her hands trembled, though she tried to hide it. Across from her sat Commander Alex Grant, his face bruised but steady. Mira sat near the window, holding her tablet close. We did it, she said softly. The global signal is gone. No more interference. Systems are normal again. Evelyn gave a tired smile. Normal. I almost forgot what that means. But something about her felt different, heavier. Her reflection in the window seemed slightly off. Her pupils shimmered faintly, like a ripple of light under the surface. Grant noticed it, but said nothing. The helicopter landed near what remained of the Atlas bunker. The once mighty facility was half buried in snow and silence. Inside, only a handful of survivors remained. When Evelyn entered, the room filled with quiet respect. To them, she was the hero who saved Earth. But deep down, she didn't feel like one. Keycap 2. The strange changes. Days passed. The world slowly rebuilt itself. Power came back in some cities. Communications returned. Governments began to reconnect. People called it the Great Recovery. Yet reports of strange phenomena started again, not attacks this time, but changes. In India, a woman healed from fatal burns overnight. In Brazil, a boy could sense radio waves and repeat messages before devices played them. In Germany, soldiers began to see in the dark without equipment. At first, everyone called it luck or miracles. But Dr. Evelyn Ross knew better. She locked herself in her lab, scanning her own blood. What she found chilled her to the core. Microscopic structures woven into her DNA, glowing faintly blue. Not viruses. Not bacteria. Something else. She whispered to herself, the signal didn't die. It changed. Keycap 3. The Awakening. One evening, Mira entered Evelyn's lab. She looked pale and frightened. Dr. Ross, I think something's wrong with me, she said quietly. Evelyn turned. Myra's eyes shimmered the same faint blue light she'd seen in her own reflection. Headaches? Evelyn asked. Worse. I hear voices. Not words, just sounds. Like whispers from inside the machines. Evelyn stepped closer. It's not in your head. The alien signal. It bonded with us. It's rewriting us. Myra's voice shook. Are we dying? Evelyn shook her head slowly. No. We're evolving. Before they could speak further, an alarm blared through the bunker. Commander Grant's voice shouted from the hall. We've got movement outside. They rushed to the command deck. Through the surveillance feed, they saw figures approaching the bunker. People, dozens of them, walking through the snow without gear or protection. Their bodies were glowing faintly blue, eyes shining like frostfire. Mira gasped. They survived the Arctic blast. Grant whispered. No one could survive that. The figures stopped outside the bunker entrance. Then, all at once, they looked up at the camera, as if they knew they were being watched. Their leader, a tall man with glowing veins, smiled faintly. He spoke, and his voice echoed through every speaker in the facility. We are not your enemy. We are the next step. Keycap 4. The choice again. Grant immediately ordered lockdown. Soldiers aimed weapons at the entrance. Doc, I don't care what they are, if they breach this bunker, we end them. Evelyn stood frozen. No, wait. They might not be hostile. We need to understand. Understand. Grant snapped. They're infected. Before she could respond, the lights flickered. The systems that had been dead since the explosion suddenly turned on. Screens filled with strange blue symbols, calm, pulsing, rhythmic. Then came a voice, familiar, soft, alien, but no longer threatening. Your resistance saved you. Your survival changed you. You are no longer human. You are echoes of us. Everyone froze. The blue glow from the screens spread across the room, faint but warm. Myra's eyes widened. It's not controlling us. It's calling us. Grant aimed his weapon at the screen. No. It's another trick. Evelyn lowered his gun gently. No. Alex. It's not. They're telling the truth. He stared at her. How can you be sure? She looked at him, and for the first time, her eyes glowed bright blue. Because I can hear them. Keycap 5. The Divide. The bunker erupted in chaos. Some soldiers sided with Grant, wanting to destroy every last trace of the alien signal. Others followed Evelyn, believing humanity's evolution couldn't be stopped. Gunfire echoed through the halls as human fought human again, but this time, not for survival, for identity. Mira stood beside Evelyn, shaking. "They're going to kill us." Evelyn looked calm, her voice low but certain. "No, they won't. Because soon, they'll be like us too." A deep hum filled the bunker. Every machine, every cable, every weapon began to glow with that same blue light. The sound grew louder, rising like a song. The surviving soldiers fell to their knees, clutching their heads. Outside, the blue-eyed figures walked closer, merging with the snowstorm until the whole Arctic shimmered like glass. Keycap 6. The New Dawn. Hours later, silence returned. The bunker's entrance stood open. Snow drifted in quietly. Where humans once stood, faint blue silhouettes moved like ghosts, calm, connected, alive. Evelyn stood among them, her voice echoing through the icy wind. "We were meant to die. But instead we changed. The old world ended, but something new began." As dawn broke, the horizon glowed blue instead of gold. Earth was no longer just human. It was something more. And somewhere deep under the Arctic ice, the alien core pulsed one last time. Not as a warning, but as a heartbeat. The world had changed. Months had passed since the frozen signal event. The sky still carried faint blue veins that shimmered at night, like veins of light running through the atmosphere. Scientists called it the resonance. Others called it the beginning. For most people, it was simply the new world. Keycap 1. The rebuilding. Cities once filled with chaos were now quiet but alive again. Machines repaired themselves. Power grids stabilized on their own. Crops grew faster, stronger, untouched by disease. Humanity had survived, but not as it once was. Roughly 30% of the global population showed signs of evolution. Blue eyes, heightened senses, faster healing, and a strange ability to connect with each other without speaking. They called themselves the Linked. The rest, those who remained normal, called them the Changed. And they feared them. Keycap 2. The division. In New Geneva, once the capital of the United Nations, a new council had formed. It was meant to rebuild order, but it was divided. On one side stood Dr. Evelyn Ross, now a symbol of hope and science. Her eyes glowed faint blue, calm but determined. On the other stood General Marcus Hale, a hardened soldier who led the surviving military forces. His message was clear. They are not human anymore. We have to contain them. Evelyn argued back. Contain? Marcus, they are human, evolved human. The signal changed our biology, not our hearts. But Hale's voice thundered. Tell that to the cities where you're linked, control every system. Tell that to the people who vanish every night into the blue zones. Murmurs filled the hall. The divide was growing deeper, not between nations, but between species. Keycap 3. The blue zones. Outside the cities, entire regions had turned into strange sanctuaries of light, places where machines hummed in rhythm with human thoughts. In one such place, the Arctic survivors lived. They called it Haven, built above the ruins of the old bunker. Evelyn visited often. She felt peace there. The air shimmered softly, and every sound felt alive, as if the planet itself breathed in harmony. Mira greeted her at the entrance, her eyes bright with energy. It's spreading, she said. The link is growing stronger. We can hear each other from across continents now. Evelyn smiled faintly. And the others? Some are scared. They call us invaders. But, we're healing the world, Evelyn. Look at this. Mira touched a dead tree branch, and within seconds, tiny green leaves began to grow. Evelyn stared in awe. Photosynthetic resonance, she whispered. We're merging with the planet itself. But deep inside, a voice whispered in her mind, faint, familiar, alien. The harmony must be complete. She froze. The same signal. Still alive. Keycap 4. The resistance. Meanwhile, General Hale was preparing something of his own. Hidden in a secure bunker under the ruins of London, his scientists had found fragments of the destroyed alien core. Can it still broadcast? Hale asked. A technician nodded nervously. Partially, sir. But it's unstable. If we activate it, we might disrupt the global link. Hale's voice hardened. Good. Then we'll break it. Humanity will be human again. He didn't care what it cost. The device pulsed faint red, like an ember reigniting. Keycap 5. The warning. Evelyn awoke one night to a sudden wave of pain in her mind, as if 1,000 voices screamed at once. Mira ran in, gasping. They're trying to break the link. A new signal, red, it's spreading fast. The screens around them flickered, showing red static. Machines began to malfunction. The blue light dimmed. Evelyn realized what was happening. They found part of the core. They're reactivating the old signal. She turned to her people. We have to stop them before it fractures the link, or we'll lose everything. Keycap 6. The confrontation. The final confrontation took place in the ruins of London, now half swallowed by blue crystal and twisted metal. General Hale stood beside the old alien fragment, armed soldiers around him. The device glowed red, pulsing faster with every second. When Evelyn arrived with Mira and her team, the air crackled with energy. Hale, stop, she shouted. You'll kill us all. He turned, his eyes burning with anger. No, Evelyn. I'll save what's left of us. He pointed his gun at her. You let them take our world. You let them infect us. Evelyn stepped closer, calm but firm. They didn't take it, Marcus. They fixed it. They gave us a chance to live again. Can't you see? But Hale's hand didn't tremble. I see monsters pretending to be men. He pressed the activation key. Keycap 7. The final signal. The core exploded with red light, clashing with the planet's blue resonance. The ground shook violently. The sky turned violet, a storm of energy tearing through the clouds. Evelyn screamed, Mira, stabilize the link. Mira closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind. Her voice echoed across the world. All linked, join now. Every evolved human felt it, a pull, a shared heartbeat. They focused their energy, combining their thoughts, their wills. The blue light surged, wrapping around the red like a living wave. Hale fell to his knees, blinded by the brilliance. Impossible, he whispered. Evelyn reached toward the device, her voice trembling. You can't destroy what we've become. The red light vanished. Silence. Then, the world glowed pure blue. Keycap 8. The new dawn. When the light faded, Hale was gone. The fragment was nothing but dust. Evelyn stood in the ruins, breathing hard. Mira walked to her side. Is it over? Evelyn looked at the sky, now glowing calm, soft blue. No, she whispered. It's just beginning. Across the world, humans, both normal and linked, stood in awe as the sky pulsed gently, like a living heartbeat. The Earth had changed forever. And somewhere beyond the stars, the alien race that once sent the signal watched in silence, not as conquerors, but as witnesses. Evelyn's voice echoed softly. We were the last humans. Now, we are the first of something new. The world was quiet again. The wars had stopped, the skies had cleared, and the once red storms were gone. The air itself shimmered faintly blue, filled with soft energy, alive, breathing, connected. For the first time in centuries, Earth was truly at peace. But peace was only the beginning. Keycap 1. A changed world. Years passed. Cities grew again, rebuilt not with steel and concrete, but with living metal that pulsed like veins. Energy flowed through the ground, clean and endless. The linked and the unchanged now lived side by side. There was still tension, still fear, but the world was healing. Dr. Evelyn Ross walked through the new capital of Haven Prime, built on the ruins of the old Arctic base. She watched as children played near blue glowing fountains, their laughter echoing across the crystal streets. For the first time in her life, She felt hope. Mira walked beside her, now a leader of the new generation. "It's beautiful," she said softly. Evelyn smiled. "Yes, it is. But beauty isn't enough. We still don't know why they sent the signal." Mira nodded. "Maybe it wasn't just to save us. Maybe it was to test us." Evelyn looked up at the glowing sky. "Then maybe it's time we answer them." Keycap 2 Project Echo. Deep beneath Haven Prime lay the Resonance Tower, a massive structure built from the remnants of the alien core and Earth's technology. Its purpose: to send a message back into the stars. Teams of scientists and evolved engineers worked together, their minds linked. Every thought, every movement, synchronized perfectly. As Evelyn entered the command chamber, the massive tower hummed softly, alive with light. Commander Alex Grant, now older, scarred, but loyal, stood beside her. His once suspicious eyes were calmer now, glowing faintly blue. "Everything's ready," he said. "The signal will reach every known system within 1,000 light-years." Evelyn nodded slowly. "And what happens after that?" Grant gave a faint smile. "Then we find out who's listening." Keycap 3 The message. The chamber lights dimmed. The hum grew louder. The resonance tower pulsed like a giant heartbeat, echoing through the ground. Evelyn placed her hand on the console. "Start transmission." A beam of light shot into the sky. Blue, bright, endless. It pierced the clouds, broke through the atmosphere, and vanished into the stars. Her voice echoed through the system, calm and clear. "To those who sent the signal, this is Earth. We received your message. We survived. And we have changed." Her words were carried across the universe, not just as sound, but as energy, emotion, and memory. Every human connected to the link felt it too. "We were once broken, divided, dying. You gave us the spark that saved us, and cursed us. But we made it our own. We are not your servants, nor your children. We are something new." The blue light intensified, resonating across every satellite and relay. The planet itself seemed to pulse with pride. "We are humanity. We endured. We adapted. We earned our place among the stars." For a long time, there was silence. The tower's hum faded. The stars looked the same, cold, distant, silent. And then, they changed. Keycap 4 The reply. At first, it was faint, a flicker of light across the night sky. Then, another. Then hundreds. The stars were responding. Across the heavens, constellations shimmered and shifted into patterns, glowing red, gold, and blue. It wasn't random. It was language. The machines around them translated the pulses into sound. A deep, ancient voice echoed through the chamber. "Children of Earth, you have done what no one before you could. You took our curse and made it your strength." Evelyn's heart pounded. "They heard us," she whispered. "We were once as you are, bound by fear, by war, by decay. We sent the signal to warn you, to prepare you. Few worlds survived the transformation. You are the first in 1,000 generations to rise." The voice paused, like it was smiling. "Now, you are no longer alone." Keycap 5 The awakening sky. The beam from Earth merged with the starry network above, forming a colossal web of light across space, like veins connecting countless worlds. Mira watched in awe. "They're linking us to others." Evelyn whispered. "No, they're inviting us." The entire planet vibrated softly. Every human, linked and unchanged, felt it, a pull beyond the stars, a whisper in their minds. Images flashed across the sky. Alien cities, dying suns, fleets of light crossing galaxies. The voice returned, softer this time. "You have become what we could not, the bridge between the old and the new. When you are ready, follow the light." Then the stars went still. Keycap 6 The legacy. The tower powered down, leaving only silence. Evelyn stood at the window, watching the last glow fade into space. Mira turned to her. What do we do now? Evelyn smiled faintly. Now, we build. We learn. And when the time comes. She looked up at the stars. We answer again. Keycap 7 Epilogue, The Traveler. Years later, a single starship launched from Earth, sleek, silver, and alive, grown from human hands and alien design. At its heart stood Evelyn's final creation, Project Ascend. Inside the ship, young explorers, linked and human alike, prepared to leave their homeworld behind. Their mission, to follow the path of light. As the ship rose through the clouds, Earth glowed below them, blue, bright, beautiful. Evelyn's final recorded message played across every channel, her voice calm and eternal. To the galaxy, we were once small, fragile, and afraid. But we learned. We fought. We changed. This is not the end of humanity. This is our beginning. The ship vanished into the stars, leaving behind a world reborn. And far across the galaxy, countless other worlds turned their gaze toward the light of Earth. The planet that refused to die. The planet that made gods bleed, and became something greater.